Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Calm in the Chaos. Firstly, I'd like to say thanks to everyone that's liked, shared and subscribed to the channel. Please continue to do so. Support is really appreciated, and I'm hoping by branching out we can help other people. I would like to apologise for certain people may have thought I was overstepping the mark by sharing my channel on people's posts on some BBD pages. No disrespect was ever meant. It was kind of just, a reach out to say, you're not alone. There are people out here that, are living with the similar condition. So, moving on, I'd like to do some shout outs. First of all, and I apologise for this, lady whose name began with E, as cryptic as that sounds, who was the first person to subscribe to the channel. I apologise I didn't catch your name. I couldn't find it in my notifications. I should have written it down, but lesson learned, and I've written down everyone else's name. So moving on, also give me a like in the comments if you know who you are. I'd like to say thanks personally. So moving on to the shout outs, I'd like to say thanks to Chelsea Gordon, Vicky Hill, Cheyenne Lee Tosca, Buzz Lorenzen. Really liked your comment there on my video. Really connected with that, if I'm honest. Buzz mentioned about living undiagnosed, and I totally relate to that, if I'm honest. I spent many years going through the ups and downs cycles of back and forth to the doctors and therapists, and often been called as depression and given different medications to battle depression. And if I'm honest, it wasn't until about 6 years ago, disclosing a bit of personal journey here, in my intrusive thoughts got kind of overpowering, to the sense of paranoia about close friends, people I knew in my heart of hearts that I could actually trust. So it added to the confusion of why I would be having these thoughts, and I kind of separated them to cope with it, I guess. And I kind of give it a name. It's a character as such who is very negative, so we called him Neg. And I used to explain to my friends, like, oh, Neg's kind of saying this in my head, like, and it wasn't that I was hearing voices. It was, as quite commonly confused, I imagine, intrusive thoughts. Those thoughts of fear and danger, perception, etc., that is formed through the trauma as a youngster, as self-protection. So I kind of went back to the doctors, and I basically said I was having these voices in my head that were telling me negative things about people. And if I'm honest, it's shocking, but the minute I said I was hearing voices, bam, I got sent to referred to the mental health team. They then kind of helped me talk it through, helped me realise that it wasn't voices, which I knew, and explained about intrusive thoughts. I then seen a therapist. And that's when I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and PTSD, which, if I'm honest, I know there's a big stigma around labels, and I do feel borderline personality disorder sometimes is quite a strong quite a strong word, and I think a lot of the time it's misconceived as multiple personality disorder, which is a different disorder in itself altogether. Obviously there might well be some shared traits, but they are very different categorized medically. But with the label, I found, rather than it was a way for the world to understand me, it was more a way for me to understand myself. So, right, okay, I've got borderline personality disorder, so how does that affect me? What does that do to me? That's when I started to look at my behavior cycles, my emotional regulation, and also through that journey I found motivational videos were really good for sort of poising questions in your mind, about failure as such, or continued cycles and mindset and whatnot, and so I believe these videos help everyday people, but I also think they can, quite honestly, be a strong tool in helping people with borderline personality disorder. So if you've ever seen any of them on YouTube, a guy that I follow and have done for many years, he's been a really big part in just putting questions to myself that I might not have necessarily thought of, or perspectives perspectives that I might not have necessarily come to. And his name's Eddie Pinero. His channel's Your World with Him. Amazing guy, check him out. I'll put his thing in the comments there, in the description of the video. So yeah, and just check him out, it's amazing. So big shout out to Eddie. So kind of like moving on to what I really wanted to discuss. If I'm honest, it's been quite a bit of a challenge the last couple of days, because there's so many areas of BPD that I feel, shared personally could be valuable to everyone, that I couldn't quite narrow down which ones to go with first, and I appreciate Tara Goodwin also commented. Big shout out to Tara, thank you. And her suggestion was a video on abandonment issues and the fear of abandonment. And again, amazing topic, interesting and hopefully very insightful to those who don't suffer with BPD as well as those that do, to kind of get a perspective of where they're coming from emotionally in those situations. So with regards to the fear of abandonment issues, I'd actually like to just kind of make a video about that purely in itself, because it does tie in with a lot of things like, relationships, friendships. It affects all parts of interpersonal relationships of someone with borderline personality disorder. So definitely want to dive into that, but I imagine that's going to be a good hour session. So thanks to Tara. I'm definitely going to keep your eyes out for that, because that's definitely coming up. But what I'm noticing is a lot of people just kind of right now are really struggling, and I appreciate that. And if I'm honest, I appreciate this channel as well, because it gives me the reason to get out. I'm at the lovely Tresillian River down in Cornwall for a walk to do the video. I want to kind of do them in outside places to kind of help me live by what I'm saying, and also to show you guys the benefits and the beauty that is out here. As much as we perceive the world to be a scary place, there are beautiful places to admire. So the topic I want to kind of cover today is about routine. And I know a lot of people with BPD, when I say routine, are like, it's probably one of the hardest things to maintain. And I think that's the challenge in it, is consistency. The benefits are that of going to the gym. You don't do it for 2 days and suddenly your life's better. It's you do it for 6 months, a year, you look back and then you see you're feeling a bit better, or you're dealing with things better. So I totally understand how challenging adding a routine of healthy habits and healthy thinking can be, especially when life doesn't stop for you to recover. You can't kind of say, unfortunately, I need 6 weeks off to get my mindset straight. Like, if life would just stop throwing stuff at me, bills, relationships, cars breaking, or feeling low in yourself, and you got to drag yourself out of bed, they're the hard days. But I get that the routine is hard, so I just want to kind of talk about a few things that may be obvious, maybe not so obvious. And I've sat there myself when a therapist or support worker said, you need to get a good sleeping pattern, you need to eat well and all this stuff, like I haven't tried, like you don't want to. With BPD usually comes some form of anxiety / insomnia, which then the insomnia feeds the anxiety, because your brain's stressed out and super tired, and it's a vicious cycle to break. I've lived it myself, so I do relate to people. And I don't say this as it's going to be easy, but you've kind of got the choice of stay in a cycle that you are, or push through the muddy sludge to get onto the walkable path as such. That walk through the sludge is going to be a mission. It's going to take the best of you. It's going to make you push on when you're tired, make you do things you don't want to do. But eventually you're going to get onto that path where you can walk a bit freely, not being held back, or having those negative thoughts that add to your perspective of life so drastically. So obviously there's eating. Eating is a big one, especially when you add in different medications. Some medications can make you feel a bit sick while you're eating. Other medications can make you eat loads, and other medications, you might not feel so hungry, but you'll still gain weight. So eating is a hard one. Sorry, I just got a notification through then. So eating is a hard one, and I guess like for myself, as most people I imagine, breakfast isn't, you know, a thing. You're kind of just waking up, you know, trying to just get your head in gear and, you know, not necessarily be snappy. Sometimes I know with my BPD, especially when I was not controlling it as well, or had influence on it as well, I would wake up in the morning instantly angry at the world, like, oh god, another day, like really. And you know, that mindset, I understand why I have it now, because it's that fear of the uncertainty, or what other negative things will the day bring, blah blah blah. But as you slowly start to train yourself, and it is a matter of training, so every day it's about trying to stop that thought of negativity and implement even a thought of nothing rather than just positive. If you can do positive, even better. But if you can just try to stop those thoughts, and I think a lot of it is distraction and habit and routine, because with BPD, obviously something that is a big trigger of the emotional dysregulation is the uncertainty of life, which, you know, we all face, but it's a lot, you know, more feared subconsciously, psychologically, by those with BPD. So I think like adding these healthy routines of, you know, get up in the morning, you know, plan your day, look at a list, you know. So sorry about a list. So what I kind of do to help my habit, I try to help my routine, is in the evening I will write down a list of a few things I want to achieve that day, you know, and depending on how I've been feeling, that list may only consist of getting dressed, having a shower, hoovering up. Other days that list may consist of, you know, making a video, getting out for a walk. And you've kind of got to like gauge it, you know, on how you're feeling, but also try to push yourself, you know. So if you are like feeling, oh, I haven't been out for a couple of days, maybe put on your list, pop down the shop, you know, and make those small steps. And the reason I say I put a list is because you can make like a checklist. So, you know, as you've done these things through the day, you can kind of tick them off, and when you come to write your list that evening for the next day, you kind of look back and you see you've achieved some stuff, you know. And like I say, these things have to be very personal to you, to your struggles, to things you're managing right there and then, and you can't compare them to, you know, someone who's done a, you know, 12-hour day or whatnot. If you know, the best you can do at the time due to your own struggles is, you know, get up and have something to eat regularly and do a bit of exercise or something. So the list is a good tool. Obviously there's many apps out there as well, which help with, like, you know, sleep reminders, you know, meditative music to go to sleep to, which can definitely help distract, you know, a very overactive mind when you're trying to sleep. I find that's usually when my BPD is rife. It's the voice in my head is such, you know, either the creative side or the negative side, depending on, you know, how I'm feeling. You'll lie down and you close your eyes. You might even try and turn everything off and just go sleep, but like, you'll be lying there thinking, oh, should have written this for some comedy stand-up, or oh, I've got to do this tomorrow, or oh no, dreaded this, dreaded that, you know. So meditative music and good sleep again is vital. And I think jumping around on the eating and sleeping thing, because they kind of all tie in with each other, creating a good sleeping cycle, so like a pre-sleep habit, you know, maybe you have a warm shower and a, you know, warm milk, or, you know, when you have meds, if you take them, you know, and give yourself like an hour before you actually get in bed to just, you know, kind of relax and try and like clear the mind, you know. Try not to be doing too much. Like I say, maybe write a little list and then listen to some music, grab a shower, grab a bath, you know, and just try and create a nice place to sleep, you know. There's a speech from Admiral Raven, which my friend Eddie, you know, always shouts about, because it is a good one, another one to check out. That's on YouTube. He says about making your bed first thing in the morning when you get up, because again, through the day, it's an achievement. It might just be one little achievement, but they all add up. And then coming back to the sleeping thing, when you come back to your bed and you've done your sleep hygiene sort of pattern, you've got a nice fresh bed to get into, you know. And that kind of, you know, clear mind, clear room, clear mind type of saying, definitely has effect there. Another thing to do, I find, for sleep is take accountability and acknowledgement of the day. You know, take accountability of the things you feel you could have maybe handled different. Make a note of them. You know, another point we'll go on to in the future is journaling, and how writing down thoughts and stuff can really help. So, you know, at the end of the day, like before you go to sleep, in that hour of sleep hygiene, you know, write down the things that you were proud of that you did that day. Write down the things the things you felt you wanted, you know, what you didn't like, you know, and writing all these things down gives you like a sort of a visual board of working out, you know, what qualities and things you want to do and who you want to be and what things you want to kind of try and manage better and whatnot. And it's all about step by steps, just breaking it down, and that's kind of how I've learned. You know, I've stumbled still in my journey as I've got better. I've still messed up, you know. Again, been personal. Been married for the last 3.5 years. First year and a half, amazing. Last 18 months or so, kind of let my fear of abandonment, you know, insecurity, self-doubt kind of rub off, and you know, we push people away with these things. So, you know, like I said, it's about being able to look back, pick apart the cycles, what worked, what didn't work, what put you in the direction you want to go, what held you back, what you can change, what you can't change, you know, what you can control and what you can't control. And I think this is another big one for BPD people, is, I know I think it may well have come from a Lord's Prayer or something, but it's something I quite think of quite often. I'm kind of hoping I get it right now. So I think it's to give me the serenity. No, definitely not got it. I'm going to say it anyway, and you guys will probably know it and correct me in the comments. It's the serenity to know the things that I cannot change, the courage, yeah, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And wisdom comes from failure. Wisdom comes from those points in your life where it didn't go quite how you thought, and that caused you pain and frustration and upset and all these negative feelings. And for me, like, the journey of BPD really started when, like I said earlier, I just got to a point that these cycles were carrying on. And you know, I'd had good relationships with good people, I'd had good friends around me, yet I always seen this world as a doomy, gloomy place, because that's what I was trained to see, that's what I was trained to look out for protection of myself, protection of others. And I wouldn't manage the emotions very well that came out with that. You know, I remember with my daughter's mum, there was times where, you know, she would say, oh, you know, you don't want to be here, and I actually did, but I would behave in a manner that would make any normal person feel like I didn't. And the pure frustration within myself and confusion that I couldn't actually give her an explanation as to why I kept like impulsively having these behaviors that would affect our relationship. And again, those things go on into, you know, my next relationship. They're not as strong, or they're stronger in different behaviors, because they're in a different dynamics with a different person, etc. But the outcome is inevitably all the same, because of the routine that your, you know, brain is used to. It's used to perceiving that after a certain amount of time this person will leave, or after a certain amount of time you're not enough, etc. And it starts to perceive that. And another thing I kind of wanted to, I think I wrote it down here just to like remind myself, was the destruction in how what we believe becomes what we see. So if you believe a person's going to leave you, the minute that person just needs a second on their own, which is a normal human thing, you know, you'll then see that as a threat. Yeah, and it won't necessarily be a threat, but the more you rub salt into it and point out, oh no, this is a threat that shows insecurity, which then, you know, the distance between you and the person starts to create, which then feeds the fear of abandonment issue. And then the thing that I find most ironic and the biggest trouble with that routine is it feeds itself. you've kind of pushed this person away through your behavior and fear of losing them, by doubting them, by doubting their love for you, doubting their ability to stand by you, and that pushes them away, and then they say, well, I can't do anymore, and then they go, and then that feeds that side of your brain that's that's programmed to go, see, they did leave, so that means the next person's going to leave as well, and it gives itself evidence, which is how I think as you get older it becomes more and more destructive, until one point you just say, why does this keep happening? what do I have to do to stop this? Like, this is not what I want. And I think until you get to that point, that's when you can go, oh, I need to break it down. But it just becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, as they say. So like I said, what I'm kind of learning, and this is why I want to share these things, is about the routine of changing those things one step at a time. As much as it'd be lovely to just like wake up in the morning and be like, oh yeah, I'm cured now. And I'll tell you a little bit about myself again. Like, I did that. I moved into a place for a year. I basically cut all the people that I didn't trust out my life. I kept the 2 people that I did trust in my life. And for about a year, I kind of thought, well, I'm all right now. I've not been triggered. My emotions been regulated, and I was deceived. I deceived myself, if I'm honest, because then as I stepped back into life and into relationships, the struggles, yeah, they took a little longer to come through, because I managed them a little bit better from what I'd learned, but they still come through. So I realized, I wasn't cured. And if I'm honest, I don't think there's a point of being cured. I think there's a point of managing to create an amazing life and using the benefits of BPD, as well as trying to manage the negative sides of BPD. So again, just like I say, creating a good eating habit. I understand people have busy lives and whatnot, and I don't want to kind of go on about these motivational videos too much, but on this particular topic, they are very insightful. So again, with regards to eating, it's about eating a nice balanced diet regularly, 3 meals a day. Even if you have to do some food prep on the evening before, as I say, when you're writing your list for the things the next day, maybe make up your lunchbox, get some good fruit in there, some vegetables, get a nice balanced diet, again, because that will then help fuel your body. With BPD, you usually have a overactive mind, whether that be creatively or negatively, and you've got to think, if that's like a car running, rather than 2,000 revs like everyone, just cruising along, BPD people kind of be running at 3,500 revs, and you're burning twice as much fuel, and then in turn we don't eat well, and it's like I say, running a car at 3,500 revs with a 5's fuel in it, and now everyone knows nowadays what a 5's fuel will get you. So they kind of, again, they go hand in hand, the sleep and the eating. It keeps you kind of balanced and fueled for the day. It's really, really, I can't stress how important it is, and I do understand how hard it is as well. But just check out some apps with alarms, check out some nutritional channels on there. I'm sure there's lots of information. I don't want to say too much, because I'm not the best at doing this whole eating stuff. I do try every day, obviously, especially doing the channel, and try to live by what I'm saying. So just check it out. If you've got any suggestions that people may check out that you guys know about, put them in the comments, so everyone can kind of share this information, and trying to hopefully, I think the more we grow, the more we can help people. So yeah, that's the thing on eating. The other routine I kind of wanted to point out again, which is an obvious one, hopefully I don't lose many people here, because we have people who love sports, we have people who don't love sports, but exercise, obviously that is a fundamental one, if I'm honest, whether and it's all, again, what you class as exercise. Some people class exercise as going down the gym, some people class exercise as going for a brisk walk. If I'm honest, all motion is emotion, as Tony Robbins says. Again, another good motivational video guy, Tony Robbins. I'll put him in the comments, check him out. He's got a theory, and well, it's not a theory, if I'm honest, it's fact, but emotion is created by motion. So you get those people that are bouncy and they're all like, yay, yay, they genuinely feel that energy, because physiologically they are creating that energy within them. You know, I'm guilty of this as well. I find with BPD, you know, we're very head down, shoulders hunched, you know, we're closed in, which creates, you know, a physiological mindset of like, I'm closed in, you know, leave me alone, which then all radiates to other people, and people kind of stay away from you or be a bit off with you, which then feeds your own, you know, oh, I don't like people, I'm antisocial. You know, I'm not saying everyone's got to jump out their bed, be like, boom, here's the day, crack on. Like, you know, that's, you know, if that's your personality, amazing, we need some of them. But, you know, I get that's not everyone. And if I'm honest, I ain't a morning person either, you know, not at all. It takes me a good, don't speak to me for like good 10-15 minutes till I've kind of had a time to wake up, capture my thoughts, you know, maybe have half a coffee before I make some breakfast or whatever. So yeah, exercise is really important. Again, it ties in with the eating and sleeping. If you're exercising, you know, whether that be just getting out in the garden, you know, doing a bit of gardening, moving, you know, a couple bricks around, whatever, a couple stones, you know, or whether that's going for a, you know, a walk in the wilderness where there's no people. That's something that I kind of did when I struggled at my darkest point with my BPD, as I would go to the most remotest place with my dog and I'd just walk for hours. I'd take, you know, pack lunch and drinks and whatnot, and I'd just be in the nature, as I call it, and enjoy the quiet like now. And that kind of, like I said, the exercise ties in with eating. If you're exercising, you need to eat right, because like I say, with overactive mind, your body, especially if I'm honest, my metabolism's super high, you know, super high. I can eat like a horse when I'm in my good moods, and I'm still like a beanpole, as some would say. So, you know, that kind of says to me, especially those with a high metabolism, when you're overthinking, your brain's driving harder, your body's working harder, you know, and that takes fuel, which is the food. So again, they all tie in with each other: exercise, sleep. And if you're exercising enough, that will add loads to your sleep hygiene. You know, maybe that's the thing, if you can fit it in your routine. You know, whether you finish work or, you know, before you have your shower and you do your hours, write in your list and grateful for the things that you've done through the day, write it all down, done your journal. Maybe before that, maybe go for a half an hour walk. You know, you'll be surprised how far you can cover in half an hour. So I just want to like highlight to everyone about routine, the importance of that. If anyone's got any tips or, you know, things they want to share with other people that have helped them create a good routine, or any points that they're struggling with in creating a routine, we can talk about that too. And it's all just really, I just want to add these little tools along the way for people to pick up if they need them, if they feel they're valuable to them, to just try and, you know, give us all a bit of a better quality of life. Life is hard in itself, you know, and when you've had a hard start, you definitely deserve a good future. But, you know, the future is unfortunately what we make it. And I know a lot of people with BPD will kind of still be in that mindset of like, no, I can't do it, you know, it's this person's fault, it's that person's fault. But, you know, if no one's going to change it but you, you know, and no one's going to know what you want to change it to but yourself. You know, sometimes we don't know what we want to change it to, but I'm pretty sure we all know what we don't want it to be. So just look in your life and in yourself and know there's people around you, there's people out here, there's people like myself, there's people like the supporters of the channel who want everyone to just have a better quality of life, and they all deserve that. So, you know, I want to say thanks again. I'm just going through my notes, make sure there's nothing that I really missed that I wanted to kind of cover. Yeah, just that you know, change is one thought at a time. You know, it's a one thought at a time journey. But if I'm honest, it's a journey worth taking, because what else are you gonna do? You know, it's not nice to sit in the well, you know. But sometimes, like if you've seen Batman, it's you that's got to climb out the well, you know. But I'm shouting at the top of the well to you all: keep climbing, stay strong. Really appreciate your support. I'll get this uploaded ASAP. Again, shout out to everyone. Check out the Facebook page. I've not quite done very much with that just yet, but it's coming. I'll have a little think and I'll come up with another video in the next few days. Feel free to like, subscribe and share. Comment on anything, you know, you want kind of raised in the thing. I'm hoping to do some talks about medication, medication abandonment issues, relationships, self-confidence. You know, there's a lot to come, and with your support we'll get there. So stay strong and speak to you again soon. Take care, guys.